Hello and welcome to Fortress Alaska. I'm your host Dave, and yes, I've been gone a while. I've had a bad winter. I've had a family member who had not one, not two, but three surgeries, one of those being an emergency surgery. I was in a car accident because someone decided to ignore the red light they had and tried to go through an intersection when I had the green. So then I was injured. Then I've had two trees fall, one landing on the house, another one taking out a bunch of my fencing. And I've had other emergencies. My 98-year-old mother got COVID, had to deal with that. So yes, I've had a bad winter. We've had extreme cold, minus 29 Fahrenheit, which is unusual for where I live in Alaska. We rarely get below minus 15. And we've had heavy snow. We are at more than twice our annual snowfall for this winter. And I still have all of March and April that it can snow, and sometimes it snows into May. So yeah, it's been a rough winter. So let's get on to today's topic, which are 5 stupid things I still hear gun tubers say. Okay, these 5 are in no particular order, they're just in random order. The number one is just buy a Glock. Why? Why just buy a Glock? There are so many good firearms out there. Look at for what you want. There are many options. There's SIG, there's Walther, there's H&K, Ruger. Many of them are far better than a Glock. They're more up to date. I mean, Glock Perfection, they're on generation 5. If they're perfect, why do they keep changing them? And for those people who are my age or can remember back when Glocks first came out, they had some issues, but they've been fixing them over the years trying to get the Glock Perfection. But why people say just buy a Glock, I don't know. Me personally, I still go with a hammer-fired gun, and I love SIGs. SIG 229, SIG 226, SIG 220s, SIG 210s. All are great guns. Hammered-fire guns. Beretta makes an excellent hammer-fire polymer pistol. So you can get the Beretta, I think it's the PX4 Storm. H&K makes the P30. It's an excellent hammer-fired polymer frame pistol. And if you want striker fire, SIG, Walther, HK all make awesome firearms. So why just buy a Glock? Explain that to me. There are far better guns than Glock. Glocks work, and yeah, you can get them everywhere, but why? You have other choices. Find what you like, use what you like. Because if you like the gun, you will practice more with it and you'll be more proficient with it. Don't just buy a Glock because everyone has a Glock. That's not a reason to buy one. Pick the one you like best. Spend the extra money if you have to. I mean, Glocks are not cheap. They may be on the lower end of the scale. Walthers may cost more. H&K definitely cost more. SIG 320s, right in there with Glock in price. And the P365, awesome carry pistol. Far better than a Glock 19. So, don't just buy a Glock. Another stupid thing that I hear gun tubers still say is, does it take Glock mags? Why the hell? Why Glock mags? Glock mags are inefficient. They're extra thick compared to a steel magazine because they're polymer, and polymer has to be thicker in order to have the same strength as steel. Even the steel line polymer magazines are thicker than a standard steel magazine. Why force the handgun to be designed around the magazine? Now granted, like all modern sporting rifles are just, PMag adapters. And that's different with the rifle because your hand is not where the magazine is. The magazine's separate, just hanging out the front. But when you're talking about the grip frame, you're talking about the frame, the grip, the cycling between the slide and the frame, all that has to be taken into account. And if you just go with a Glock mag, then pretty much you're just going to with Glocks everywhere. A lot of the manufacturers have different magazines that work the best for the design to make the best and most efficient design. In all honesty, I would rather have metal magazines than Glock mags. Metal mags are better. They really are. They cost more, I'll grant you that. Glock mags are cheap. But if you're going to want a sidearm, asking does it take Glock mags is just stupid. Is it a Glock? Is it a Glock clone? Then it should take Glock mags. But I don't want SIG using Glock mags. I don't want H&K using Glock mags. I don't want Walther using Glock mags. That's just stupid. So, quit saying does it take Glock mags when you're talking about other sidearms. That's just a stupid thing to say. Okay, this is one of my favorites. And it usually is said along with just get a Glock, but It's striker fire pistols. It's the same trigger pull every time, so you should have that. Well, let's talk about same trigger pull every time. I don't know. This 1911 from 1911 has the same trigger pull every time. It's nothing new. Now, granted, this is a striker fire gun. It's a 1908 Luger, but it's the same trigger pull every time. It's not new. It's not like suddenly in the last 20 years or 10 years they came up with the idea, let's have a striker fire gun and the same trigger pull every time. Striker fire gun, same trigger pull every time. Hammered fire gun, same trigger pull every time. You know what else has the same trigger pull every time? Oh wait, this is single action, double action. How can that have the same trigger pull every time? Well, you know, when you draw a gun out of the holster, you can cock it, and then you have the same trigger pull every time. And you're saying, but Dave, that's dangerous, that's stupid, you shouldn't cock your trigger when you're pulling your gun out of your holster. Really? You shouldn't, huh? Well, let's talk about what they did for decades upon decades. Single action pistol. When you draw it out of the holster, you cock the hammer. That's the only choice you had. People did this for decades. It's not an issue. Learn to be safe, learn the manual of arms, and you can draw gun out of the holster and cock it as you do it. Now, is there additional danger in there? Maybe, maybe not. If you're trained, it shouldn't be an issue. But to say it's the same trigger pull every time, you have other options. Oh yeah, and you can do that with single action revolvers too. So it's not new, and it isn't justification to pick your sidearm on. If you want just the same trigger pull every time, you have more options than just a striker fired polymer pistol. And in all honesty, there are even, and I should have got it out, but I didn't, like a CZ75, single action, double action, but you can carry it cocked and locked. So you have the same trigger pull every time. You can, oops. Okay, we just had to edit that out. Anyways, going back to the 1911, same trigger pull every time. So it's a stupid thing to say. It's nothing new. And in all honesty, I can draw this gun out and cock the hammer as I do it, and I never fear it going off because I'm safe. When I'm pulling it out, I'm not pointing the gun at me. I'm not pointing at anyone else. And if I shoot the ground by accident, oh well, I'm drawing my gun to shoot it. I'm not drawing my gun just to point it. I'm drawing it to shoot it. The worst thing that's going to happen is I shoot the ground. And that's never happened to me. Could it happen? Yes. But I can also, like so many people do, fire their gun just as they're pointing because they put their finger on the trigger. A little safety goes a long way. So, to say you have the same trigger pull every time, it's meaningless to me. And also, the double action, single action pistol, yeah, okay, so you have double action, single action, you think that's a problem. Well, what about if you end up in a situation where you have time, you're say 40 yards across a food court in the mall, and you see an active shooter, you can cock that hammer, because you have time, and you have a really nice trigger pull, unlike most of the spongy, creepy triggers that are in polymer striker fire pistols, except for the Walthers, which are quite good. And then you can make a more accurate shot. So, look at what you like and what you want. Don't just go with, it's the same trigger pull every time, so get a striker fire polymer pistol. No, there are other options. You can do things differently. It doesn't have to be the same thing. Alright, one that really makes me angry is just get a 9mm. Oh really? Because I live where you live, and I have all the same dangers that you have, so I should have exactly what you have? Look, where I live, I'm more likely to have trouble with a moose or a bear. And can a 9mm kill a moose or a bear? Maybe. Probably. If I hit them in the right spot. Really, there's nothing I can carry that I can guarantee I can stop a bear with one shot. I've killed bear with a .338 Win Mag, and it still took them 15 minutes to die. So, don't think that any handgun you're going to carry is going to stop a moose or a bear. But, on the other hand, I'm going to carry as much power as I can because I want to increase my odds. So yes, I will have a .357 SIG on me, not a 9mm. And if I know I'm going to be in the wilderness, then I step it up to a .44 Magnum revolver or a .357 Magnum revolver, depending on where I'm going, what I'm doing, and who I'm with. It's all dependent. You know, if I'm in an area where there's a lot of black bears, .44 Magnum's not needed. Take the .357. If I narrow in an area where I know there's brown bears, yeah, then I step it up to the .44 Magnum. So, just get a 9mm? That is stupid. Not everybody lives in the same place. Not everybody has the same concerns. And it's just not Alaska. There's lots of rural parts of this United States that has problems with mountain lions, wolves, black bears, other predators, and you want more power than just a 9mm. So stop saying just get a 9mm. Not everyone lives where you live. Not everyone has the same dangers as you. And if you're such an expert that you think everybody can get by with a 9mm, you're no expert at all. Okay, and the last one here is if you're not going to carry around in the chamber, you shouldn't carry at all. Okay, another stupid thing to say. First of all, you should be encouraging people to carry, and if that's the only safe way they think they can carry, they should do it that way. Is it the best way to carry? No, but not everybody's willing to do things your way. If they only are comfortable to carry it without a round in the chamber, so be it, because it isn't that hard to sweep your hand over and rack the slide. Is it the best system to use? No, but it's better than not having a firearm. And once again, not everybody's going to be in a situation where they're going to have to do a quick draw. Let's face it, the vast majority of times the guns are never fired. Usually just producing a firearm ends the situation. They don't know if it's loaded or not, but if you have to rack the slide, so be it. You rack the slide. It's still better than not having the gun at all. And, as I say, for those who really don't want to chamber around, switch to a revolver. Not this particular revolver. This may not be the best for concealed carry, but a standard double action revolver, because you can have one round under the hammer. That is, well, let me rephrase that. You can have a chamber underneath the hammer. There's no round in it. So you still have 5 shots, or with like a 686 plus from Smith & Wesson, you'll still have 6 shots because it's a 7-shot revolver. So have the chamber under the hammer empty. And as soon as you pull the trigger or cock the hammer, the cylinder rotates right into place. Because as you see, when you cock the hammer, the cylinder rotates. So therefore the empty chamber has now moved and you now have a live round underneath the hammer. So see that again? When you cock the hammer, the cylinder rotates and the hammer cocks in the double action mode when you pull the trigger. This is just a single action, so we can't do that. Demonstrate here. But the point is if someone really does not want to put that round underneath the hammer, encourage them to go with a revolver. No problem. You just have an empty chamber underneath the hammer. You still either have 5 or 6 shots. That's still plenty good. And, 5 shots of .357 Magnum should handle any issues you have. Or you can encourage them to get more training. But don't tell them not to do it and that they're stupid. Understand that not everybody is you. Not everybody is as comfortable with firearms as you. Not everyone maybe they still don't trust themselves to be that safe. Encourage them to carry safely and what they are comfortable with. And through time and training, you get them to having a round where it needs to be. But if you just dismiss them and make them out to be fools or stupid, then they're just going to give up and stop. We need more people on our side being concealed carry people, more people involved in gun activities, safe gun activities, sporting gun activities, carrying safely. So let's not discourage people just because we disagree with how they carry the gun. As long as they're not doing things stupid, like, I don't know, doing something stupid, think of whatever you want. But just because there's no round in the chamber, that's not stupid. Many militaries have done that for decades. Soldiers are just trained to pull it out and rack the slide. And in all honesty, I don't think the vast majority of people who need their gun are doing it quick draw. I know it happens. Don't list me 27 occasions when it happens. Yes, it happens. What you're not showing are the 10,000 times where the guy nearly produces the gun and the fight's over. Because the bad guy's like, screw that, I don't want to mess with somebody with the gun. So, but still, once again, it is not that hard to draw your pistol out, and as you're drawing it out, racking the slide. Then you are set to go. So, stop with the, if you don't carry around in the chamber, you're stupid. No. Encourage them for training. Encourage them to maybe switch to a revolver. Do something to encourage them to progress in the shooting sports. Not dismiss them because they have a fear. Help them work through that fear. Please stop saying that issue because it really drives me crazy. And you are really just pushing people away from the shooting sports and concealed carry rather than encourage them to join us. What you want to do is be inviting and helpful. Don't call them stupid. Don't tell them what they have to do. Just say, okay, if you're not comfortable, do it this way, and we'll work you to where you progress. It's no different than, say, rock climbing. rock climbing for a long time, people progress and they have a rope and they have they're being belayed by somebody, and eventually they move up to free climbing. It takes time and confidence and skill to get to where you feel safe without having someone belaying you and you just free climbing. So anyways, point is stop saying these 5 stupid things, because I'm really tired of hearing them, and I think it pushes people away from the shooting community rather than bringing them in. So once again, I'm your host, Dave. Thank you for watching Fortress Alaska. I'm going to try to get back more on videos. I'll probably be a little slow, maybe every other week now, maybe once a month, but I'll get back into the once a week routine. I'm still recovering from the accident. I'm still limping, and it's been 2 months. So yeah, everything takes time. So have a good day, and as always, get out shooting.